What if everything you believe about American billionaires is only half the story? We are taught to admire them, to study their habits, to quote their words. They are shown as proof that the system works, that anyone can make it, if they work hard enough. From magazines to podcasts, the message is clear. Billionaires are visionaries, risk-takers, people who started with nothing and earned everything. But here is the uncomfortable question. If the system is fair, why do so few people reach the top? And why does so much wealth stay in the same hands? This video is not about jealousy. It is not about hate. It is about understanding what success really costs. And who quietly pays that cost. Behind every massive fortune, there is a structure. Behind every success story, there is a system. And systems do not reward everyone equally. If you watch this video till the end, you will see wealth differently. You will understand how power actually moves in America. And why extreme riches are never just personal achievements. So stay with me. Because the truth is rarely as shiny as the headlines. Most people believe billionaires are created by talent alone. A good idea. Perfect timing. Hard work that finally pays off. That story feels good. It gives hope. It makes success look reachable. But real wealth does not grow in isolation. It grows inside systems. Financial systems. Legal systems. Political systems. Billionaires learn these systems early. Or they are born close to them. They understand rules most people never see. Rules written in contracts. In tax codes. In corporate law. This does not mean every billionaire starts rich. But it does mean they rarely start blind. Access matters. Connections matter. Timing matters. And when small advantages stack up, they turn into massive ones. One smart decision can change a life. But repeated advantages can build empires. Many fortunes grow faster not because of better ideas, but because of leverage. Other people's money. Other people's labor. Other people's risk. When a company succeeds, rewards flow upward. When it fails, losses spread outward. Workers lose jobs. Communities suffer. Investors get bailouts. This is how wealth compounds. Not evenly. Not fairly. But predictably. The system does not reward effort alone. It rewards position. And once someone reaches the top, the system begins to protect them. Rules bend quietly. Doors open faster. Mistakes become survivable. This is not luck. This is structure. And understanding that structure is the first step to seeing billionaire success for what it truly is. Money is only the beginning. Once someone becomes a billionaire, their influence no longer stays inside banks or balance sheets. It spreads quietly. Into rooms most people will never enter. Into conversations that shape the future. Billionaires do not just buy things. They buy access. Access to politicians. Access to regulators. Access to decision-makers. When laws are written, they are often written by people who understand wealth. Or by people who listen closely to it. This is how money turns into power. A single donation can change an election. A single phone call can delay a regulation. A single investment can decide which ideas survive and which disappear. Media plays a role too. Billionaires own platforms. Newspapers. Networks. Algorithms. They decide which stories get amplified. and which stories fade quietly. Over time, public opinion starts to bend. Not loudly. Not all at once. But slowly enough that most people never notice. This power is rarely illegal. That is what makes it so effective. Influence does not need force. It only needs proximity. When wealth concentrates, choices narrow. Markets begin to favor the few. Competition weakens. And innovation starts serving power instead of people. This is why extreme wealth is never neutral. It reshapes rules. It shifts priorities. It changes who gets heard. At a certain level, money stops being personal success. It becomes a governing force. And once that happens, the question is no longer how much someone earned, but how much control they now hold. Innovation sounds clean. Modern. Efficient. New apps. Fast delivery. Cheap products. Convenient services. But innovation often hides what really makes it possible. Behind many billion-dollar companies are workers who are invisible. Warehouse staff. Drivers. Contractors. Factory workers in distant countries. They work long hours. Under constant pressure. For wages that barely keep up with life. The product feels simple. The process is not. When costs must be cut, they are rarely cut at the top. They are pushed downward. Onto people with the least power to refuse. Labor is labeled flexible. Jobs are called opportunities. But flexibility often means insecurity. No benefits. No stability. No protection. Technology makes this easier. Algorithms replace managers. Ratings replace conversations. Workers become data points. If someone struggles, the system does not see a person. It sees a number. This is how exploitation becomes quiet. It does not look cruel. It looks efficient. Many billionaires speak about changing the world. But the change is not shared equally. Comfort flows upward. Pressure flows downward. Even overseas, the pattern repeats. Cheap labor. Weak laws. Minimal oversight. The final product looks impressive. The cost stays hidden. This does not mean innovation is bad. It means innovation without accountability has a price. And that price is usually paid by people who never share in the success. Progress feels inspiring. But we must ask who it lifts, and who it quietly stands on. Most people believe billionaires pay massive taxes. After all, they earn massive money. But the reality is very different. Billionaires do not usually break tax laws. They study them. They hire teams to work around them. And they use every legal gap available. Income is taxed. Wealth is not. This is the key difference. Most billionaires do not earn money like regular workers. They do not rely on salaries. They borrow against assets. They grow wealth through stocks. And they delay taxes for years. Some pay less, percentage-wise, than teachers. Then nurses. Then small business owners. Offshore accounts are legal. Trusts are legal. Complex ownership structures are legal. The system allows this. Governments depend on taxes to function. To fund schools. Hospitals. Infrastructure. When the richest contribute the least, the burden shifts downward. Middle-class families pay more. Small businesses pay more. Public services shrink. Billionaires often argue they follow the law. And that is true. But the deeper question is why the law protects them. Tax codes are thousands of pages long. Written by specialists. Influenced by lobbyists. Designed with complexity, not fairness. Charity is often used as proof of responsibility. But charity is optional. Taxes are not. Giving back after avoiding taxes does not fix the imbalance. It simply allows billionaires to choose where money goes. This is not generosity. It is control. A system that rewards wealth hoarding while weakening public resources slowly erodes trust. And over time, it changes what society values and who it truly serves. Extreme wealth does not exist in a vacuum. It changes the world around it. When billions accumulate at the top, resources become scarce everywhere else. Housing prices rise. Rent climbs faster than wages. Homes turn into investments instead of places to live. In many cities, workers build companies they can never afford to live near. Healthcare follows the same pattern. Advanced care exists. But access depends on income. Not need. Education too. The best schools become expensive. The best opportunities become gated. Talent matters less than starting position. This creates a quiet divide. Not between effort and laziness. But between access and exclusion. As wealth concentrates, competition shrinks. Small businesses struggle. Large corporations absorb risk. Markets stop serving people and start serving scale. Over time, inequality feels normal. Struggle feels personal. Failure feels like a moral flaw. People are told to work harder. To hustle more. To stay positive. But no amount of effort can compete with a system tilted at the top. Social trust erodes. People stop believing the rules apply equally. Anger grows. Hope weakens. And when hope disappears, societies become fragile. This is not about punishing success. It is about understanding imbalance. A healthy system lifts many people. An unhealthy one concentrates rewards and spreads pressure. Extreme wealth may look impressive on paper. But its social cost is measured in stress. In insecurity. In lost potential. And that cost is paid quietly, every single day, by people who never get mentioned in success stories. Democracy is built on the idea of equal voices. One person. One vote. But money changes how loud a voice can be. Billionaires do not vote more than others. But they can influence far more than others. Political campaigns are expensive. Advertising costs money. Staff costs money. Visibility costs money. Those who fund campaigns gain access. Meetings. Private conversations. Early influence. This does not always look corrupt. It looks professional. Organized. Legal. Lobbying is a business. Former politicians become consultants. Former regulators join corporations. The line between public service and private interest fades. Laws begin to reflect donors more than voters. Even when the public wants change, progress slows. Bills get delayed. Reforms get softened. Language gets rewritten. Media plays its part again. Narratives shift. Certain topics dominate headlines. Others quietly disappear. When billionaires control platforms, they shape what feels important. What feels urgent. What feels possible. Over time, people disengage. They stop voting. They stop believing change matters. This is the real danger. Democracy does not collapse suddenly. It erodes slowly. Through influence. Through money. Through silence. The system still exists on paper. But power no longer feels shared. When wealth decides outcomes, choice becomes an illusion. And when people feel unheard, trust breaks. This is not about conspiracy. It is about incentives. A system that allows extreme influence will always drift toward those who can afford it. When criticism grows, charity appears. Billionaires donate millions. Sometimes billions. Headlines follow. Applause follows. Philanthropy becomes proof of goodness. But charity changes the conversation. It shifts focus from how wealth was made to how wealth is given away. This is important. Philanthropy is optional. Taxes are not. When a billionaire donates, they choose the cause. They choose the timing. They choose the outcome. Public money is different. It is collected by rules. Distributed by institutions. Accountable to society. Charity answers to no voters. Many foundations receive tax benefits. Donations reduce taxable income. Influence grows while contributions shrink. This does not make philanthropy bad. But it makes it powerful. Some problems are treated. Others are ignored. Not because of urgency, but because of personal interest. Education projects get funding. But labor conditions remain untouched. Healthcare donations rise. But drug prices stay high. Philanthropy often treats symptoms. Not systems. It also reshapes public image. Criticism softens. Media coverage improves. Reputation becomes protected. This is why philanthropy can act as a shield. It allows billionaires to appear generous without changing the structures that created inequality. Good deeds are real. But they do not erase harm. They do not replace responsibility. A system should not depend on kindness. It should depend on fairness. When charity replaces justice, power remains untouched. Supporters of extreme wealth often ask a simple question. If billionaires disappear, who will drive progress? They argue that billionaires create jobs. They build companies. They fund innovation. They take risks others cannot. This sounds reasonable. But it avoids a deeper question. Is extreme wealth required for progress, or is it just allowed by the system? Many of the world's biggest breakthroughs did not come from billionaires. They came from public research. From universities. From government-funded projects. The Internet. GPS. Medical advances. All built with shared resources. Private wealth often arrives later. To package. To scale. To profit. This does not mean private success is wrong. It means progress is rarely a solo effort. When wealth reaches extreme levels, it stops motivating innovation. It starts protecting position. Billionaires focus on defending markets. Eliminating competition. Buying rivals. Controlling supply chains. Instead of more creativity, we get consolidation. Instead of choice, we get dominance. The question is not whether people should be rich. It is whether anyone needs more wealth than entire nations. A healthy economy rewards effort. But it also sets limits. Limits protect balance. Limits protect fairness. Without limits, inequality grows endlessly. And growth without balance becomes fragile. This is why the debate matters. Not because billionaires are evil, but because unchecked concentration changes the rules for everyone else. The real issue is not success. It is excess. This conversation is often misunderstood. It is not about blaming individuals. It is not about demonizing success. And it is not about denying ambition. It is about asking what kind of system we want to live in. A system reflects its values. What it rewards. What it protects. What it ignores. When extreme wealth is celebrated without question, the message is clear. Outcomes matter more than impact. But every system creates consequences. If rewards grow without limits, power follows. Influence concentrates. Voices fade. The question is not whether billionaires worked hard. Many did. The question is whether hard work alone explains outcomes this extreme. If effort was the true measure, teachers would be wealthy. Nurses would be wealthy. Builders would be wealthy. But they are not. This reveals something important. Value in the system is not human value. It is market value. And markets do not measure fairness. They measure advantage. When systems favor accumulation over contribution, inequality is not a failure. It is the result. This does not mean everything must be equal. It means extremes should be questioned. Because unchecked systems eventually break. They lose trust. They lose legitimacy. And when people stop believing in fairness, they stop believing in the system itself. This is the bigger question. Not how rich someone becomes, but how much inequality a society can sustain before it begins to fracture. Billionaires are not villains by default. Many are intelligent, driven, focused. But intelligence does not cancel impact. And success does not remove responsibility. The real issue is not personal morality. It is unchecked power. When wealth grows without limits, it reshapes laws. It reshapes culture. It reshapes opportunity. Slowly. Quietly. Legally. The system begins to serve those at the top first. And everyone else later. If at all. This video is not asking for punishment. It is asking for awareness. Awareness of how wealth is created. How it is protected. And how it changes society. Because systems do not stay stable forever. They either adjust. Or they break. History shows this again and again. The future depends on the questions we ask now. About fairness. About limits. About shared responsibility. Billionaires will continue to exist. The question is under what rules? Rules that serve a few. Or rules that serve many. Understanding the dark side of extreme wealth is not about anger. It is about clarity. And clarity is always the first step toward change.